Well, hey there, this is Jerry, and I'm bringing you another episode of What's Broke Today. And today, we're going to install a new front drive shaft on a 98 Arctic Cat 500. The little rubber coupler is all shredded, and we're going to put in a used coupler and a used shaft, and let's see if we can figure out what caused this to fail. Let me get everything set up, and we'll get it going on it. This thing I'm messing with, it's an Arctic Cat. I think it's a 500cc and it's four-wheel drive. And if you've ever had one, that's the rubber coupler that goes in between the front differential yoke and the shaft for the engine, and you can see how that thing's wasted. I wasn't sure how I was going to fix this, but I ended up finding a used one on eBay, so I got it. And then I went to put it on in the front yoke that goes on the differential. This ear was bent down, so it was, instead of being flat across here, it was angled up and out. So I heated that up with the torch, and I bent it back straight, and basically I just found a round rod that fit in the hole, heated it up, and then took another rod, actually is a big pin punch, stuck in the hole and bent that down. I mean, it may not be perfect, but it's pretty doggone close. But that got bent because driving in this, beating around on it. And of course, you probably have priced that rubber piece I got used. That thing's like $300 and some odd. By the time you get it shipped, it's probably closer to $350. So we got a used one to put on there, and it's not perfect, but it's in usable shape. And like this yoke, when I took it off, it's not no press fit. I mean, I'd put some grease on this thing, but yeah, it just slips on those splines on the pinion bearing. I work on a lot of old stuff, so for me to be just doing the basics of what they want is fairly routine, because you don't want to wrap so much up in this old ATV, because I can't remember what year this is, but I mean, it's I'm gonna say a 97 or 98, and I ended up here because our local Arctic Cat dealer no longer exists, and I'm not even sure if Arctic Cat's even still around. But I was using my big pliers and a big ratchet to tighten that up. And then I'm just going to take a couple zip ties and put over here, so that when I get it all together, I can line that boot up and zip tie it down. That it's got a little tear in it, but, well, like I say, it's not a new ATV. Now I'm going to take some grease and put up in those splines. I'll put a little bit actually on the shaft. We found the shaft on eBay, and I need to hunt down, because I got the father-in-law of the guy that brought this to me owns this one, but the guy that brought it to me, he's got almost exactly the same four-wheeler, and he needs one of those rubber couplers too. But yeah, so Next thing I do is I'll take the nuts off there. I can just push those bolts back a little bit, and then we can. And I don't know that this has, look, I don't think there's any clocking we got to worry about, because, you know, if we had a, like say, universal joints on both ends, we'd have to clock everything right, but having this rubber damper, I don't think it even matters, because, yeah, all these splines look the same size. Okay. Let's get that up in there, and then here's the thing that I was hadn't taken into account, that there's why it tore up the rubber damper. The front mount for the differentials broke. Okay, so I guess I should have noticed that sooner, but since I didn't have anything to put up in there, I hadn't even noticed that that wasn't pointing the right direction. So I wish I had As when this got here, there wasn't really no taking apart of this for me, because this old shaft was already out, and all I did was take the plastic loose and that yoke and take it off. Yeah, but now all that explains why I found what I found. Yeah, because right up here on the front, I had the camera loose in there, not real well, but see this bracket? Is what's supposed to support the front of that differential, and it is broke completely off, so I have to take, damn, I'll probably have to pull the radiator out of this just to get up there and fix that. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and get the carburetor put, because I rebuilt the carburetor too. So I'm gonna put the carburetor back in there and at least get this thing running, and then yeah, I'll just have to figure out how I'm gonna get in there and weld that. Back with my Artic cat. I've got to get in there so I can fix the front differential where that bracket's broke. So basically I got to get the front rack, probably the top rack, the winch, and the radiator out of the way, because that mount is up behind the radiator. So I'm going to start tearing things apart, and yeah, I'm not sure I need to videotape that. I'm sure you can figure out taking the rack and the front bumper off. So I'm going to get things apart. When I get in there ready to do some work on the front differential, I'll come back. Okay, well, I got everything taken apart, and this is a piece that broke out of the frame, and it's part of it's gone, because, you know, this funky end here will match up with what's there, but the section that went from here over to the other side is gone. I think what I'm going to end up doing is maybe doing some trimming in there, which is hard to see, but take the camera off the tripod. I'm going to point the camera and hope you can see, because I can't see the screen, but you say this goes in here kind of like that, and there's section missing here on the left side of the four-wheeler. I think I'm going to try and trim and cut some of this out and square up and cut me a piece of angle iron to weld in there, then drill it for the bolt holes. That way I get her cleaned up, and I can try and weld upside down onto this tube and weld it. I can go right through here and weld it onto these side ears that are still left on both sides. Because where I was having trouble after I had everything apart, the differential was all in a funky position. I'm trying to figure out why, and it's because, which I need to check, I think the front tires on this are smaller than the rears, and I think as it rolls it was getting in a bind, and running the wrong size tires, front and rear, could be what caused our failure. Not 100% sure, but I'm guessing that. So I'm going to do some cutting and see if I can fabricate up something to go back here in the frame to bolt this to, and see if I can get that differential lined up like it needs to be. Well, I got the differential pretty close into place. I did some trimming inside of those old, cut out some of the old metal. And I got me a piece of angle iron. I measured the distance across here, and it was 3 5/8, so I got a piece of angle iron marked. I'm going to cut this down, and then I'll figure out where I got to drill holes in this to line up with this bracket. And then I'll get everything lined up, figure out where I got to weld, clean paint off, and we'll go from there. I got my angle iron cut down to where it fits in here, and then I need to figure out where the bolt holes go. So, make sure I'm doing that the right way. Yep. So I'm going to get my angle iron in there, put my bracket underneath it, and now I'm going to take a C-clamp and put in there and clamp the two together. Then I can pull this bolt out. That'll drop the differential back down, but then I can slide that up off of, or get off of the differential somehow. See if I can get that up out of there somehow. There we go. Okay. And what I was concerned about here was where my bolt holes were going to end up, and I think I can knock that down just a hair and square it up, but put my bolt holes not really where I wanted them. So I need to probably need to change the angle of this to more, because I need that more in the middle of that. So let's see. Let's see if I can put this back up in here. Big question is can I now explain to you what I'm doing here. I want to get that lined up where I can weld it into the frame up here. But back here, I gotta have these two flanges on the drive shaft and the differential lined up. And I think right in that position, I'm pretty doggone close. Because if this isn't lined up, it's going to tear this rubber up pretty quick. Plus, I still have to, before I do any final welding, I got to find the other bolt that goes in here. I thought I had it stuck in there, but then I bet you I lost it when I brought this from the back up here to the front where I could weld. I got my holes drilled. I got this bolted up, and I drilled the holes just a little too big, so I'd have a little bit of give in, you know, if this needed to move a little. So it'd have just a little bit of adjustment so it's not, you know, rock solid in there. Then we can put this in here, and because without the C-clamp this works a lot better. But the nice thing is I was looking at this to figure my height. All I really need to do is go back to where I was originally at, which is right about there. Now my angle of this is a little bit different because of where I had to drill the holes in the angle iron. But when I had it, you know, lined up here with, you know, the bottom where that, because I can actually, where this was at, some of this is still on this tube. So I just pushed it up and lined it up with this edge where this had broke off. I mean, that's going to get me, I mean, super close. And then I just got to really go in there and do some cleaning so I can weld. And I think I can weld on the top. I might be able to unbolt this, drop the differential down, and maybe do some a couple welds on the bottom to strengthen it up. But yeah, that's turning out the way I wanted it to. That I'm gonna get the something to clean, probably my angle grinder with a, you know, 90 degree with a sanding disc. So I should be able to reach down through here and sand across here, maybe even turn it and sand the sides. And then I don't know if I can get the right angle to sand on the bottom or not, but I'm gonna try. I screwed up and recorded in the wrong speed, but hold my light up there so I can see where I cleaned off this bracket. And move over to the other side and try and get the right angle. There we go. And then we'll take this and stick it on the back side like so. And what I'm looking to see is how well I clean the back side of that tube off. But I'll probably edit most of this out because I don't know, you need to see it, but this is mainly to help me. Okay, well I wasn't 100% happy with the way that looked on the back side, so I'm just going to take my strip of sandpaper and put it on the back side. I'll go get a mirror real quick. Old side view mirror out of a car works pretty good to shine on the back side. Flashlight. Oh. So, alright, so what I wanted to accomplish, I accomplished. But I shouldn't have any trouble welding to that. I went to a little extra effort of cleaning out, cleaning it, just so it'd be easier to weld. And then I say old side view mirror off a car. I've got this is the one that's the passenger side that says objects in mirror closer than they appear, and I also have the flat one. But I don't know what this come out of, but something that had a broken mirror, and I just saved the lens out of it. Okay, and then the next step, I'm gonna put my bracket and thing back up there, and I'm just putting the bolt through the hole. I'm not even gonna tighten it up till I get done, and then I can take my bottle jack and get it a little repositioned, and then push that up till I get it up there lined up with the level it was before. I'm just going to take my C-clamp and go across here to hold that, like so. Make sure everything looks flat and level. And see, I got the top of this bracket lined up with where it was at on the frame before. And that looks pretty flat and straight across there. I think the only other thing I got to do before I weld is, I guess, clean off a spot for my ground clamp somewhere. So I get a good ground, and yeah, so I'm gonna go get the welder and let's get started. Okay, it's welding time. Now I'm gonna tack it a little bit, and now I'm gonna take my C-clamp out. Yeah, that inside there, that's going to be a little bit of a challenge. Some of that's getting the gun in there, some of it's sealed. Let's turn it on the back side. See it wedged in there somewhere, so it'll give me some help seeing where it's dark in there. Not too bad there. That looks good. The wind decided to pick up, but you know, so there we go. There's the top side, and then I don't know if you can see the far side, but I think we'll be okay. I'm going to try and do a little bit from the bottom and see what I can get. Okay, so we're all welded back in, bolted up, everything tightened down. And I also went to this front bolt that's up there supporting the differential in the front. it was loose, so I tightened it up. All I got left now is just basically reassembly. I got to put fan back in, put the radiator, got to put the fan back in, radiator, fill it with coolant, get the plastic on it, the front bumper. It really shouldn't be too bad. That it's getting close to lunchtime, so I may take a break, let everything cool good, and then maybe recheck the bolts and then reassemble it after I get back from lunch. Well, hey, I got my Arctic cat, the front end all put back together, and took it for a little drive. I still got to work on the carburetor again. I think the float in it's sinking, and it's getting too much fuel. But you know, the figure for a 98, probably should have put a float in the carburetor when I first took it apart. But I mean, it drove, everything felt good. I checked the tires, and they are the same diameter. They're just a different width, front and back. And while I was out driving it, didn't seem to be in too much of or getting in any kind of a bind. So I'm gonna check out the charging system, and then probably order a float and a new bowl gasket for the carburetor and get her finished up. But hey, I appreciate you watching. Always like those thumbs up for the likes. Appreciate all those comments. And if you're not a subscriber, join on in, because no telling what else you're going to see on What's Broke Today. Thanks.